We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
I want to talk about news, don't want the drama. From no pretentious media Madonna. I found me a great ganja mama. Cannabis and coffee with Tamarijuana.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Cannabis and Coffee. It's a beautiful day in the East Kootenay. The sun is shining. Well, kind of, but it is shining, and it is spring, and my daffodils are blooming this morning, so I was super happy to see that. And yeah, I think that we just got to kind of keep positively moving forward on everything these days. Anyways, this morning I have a longtime friend of mine. In fact, Johanna was probably, one of the only people that ever really made it out to my farm in Coronation, and that was probably about 8 years ago. But I first met Johanna when she was working for Dr. Kammermans. So good morning, Johanna. How are you?
Fantastic. It's beautiful down here in the East Coast, the other end of the country.
That's right. You moved out there recently. Yeah, you just moved out there recently, didn't you?
Yes, I beat COVID. Yeah, I got here just before.
Just before, yeah.
And my house right now is probably worth double what I paid for it.
I know the housing market's just gone crazy with everything, even here. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been lucky.
Well, it's good though being out where you are, and it's beautiful out there too. I haven't made it out there yet, but it's one of my bucket lists because, like I said, most of my friends all live in Nova Scotia, so it'd be great to just pack up and move.
You'd have so much fun down here. It's crazy. It's really, really lovely down here. Yeah, everybody's so friendly. It's nice, and you gotta love seafood.
Yeah, of course, the lobster, right? So when did you move?
Yeah.
When did you? So you started. Let's ask you. Well, first of all, who you are and how you got into cannabis.
Well, I got into it just like probably a lot of people out there. I started as a teenager smoking pot, being a rebel, loving every minute of it, total hippie, and then I kind of started to see how medically it was good for people after a few years, obviously, in my adult life. And that's how I ended up with working with Dr. Kammermans to be able to be a little bit more hands-on to help people. I'm still helping, actually, the first patient that I ever assisted there in Ontario. I'm her designated grower, and I've been doing it for some time, I guess, now. Plus I have my own medication. And to be honest with you, I don't know how I would feel if I wasn't smoking pot, because I never go without. I got to smoke it every day. It keeps me on an even keel, I think.
Yeah. I think that's a good way of kind of analyzing it. Is it's something that just kind of keeps you on an even keel, because it's like any medication, right? You have to have it built up in your system, and like even if it's anything, it has to be kind of regular, or it doesn't help, right?
Especially vitamins, that kind of thing.
Right. How did you meet Dr. Kammerman? Like, how did you get involved with Dr. Kammerman?
He helped a different friend of mine. He had wrote her prescription up, and that's how I heard his name originally. And I had personally, I had a whole bunch of questions for Health Canada about it was the MMAR at the time, and to get online even today with Health Canada on the phone, it takes forever. So I compiled all of my questions together so that I didn't miss anything and was able to do it in one phone call. So I thought, why don't I go over and see this doctor? He was just in Cohill, which was 7 minutes away from me. And I knew he was signing. I thought maybe he might have some questions to ask. So I went over and introduced myself, told him what I was doing, and if he had any questions that I could pose on his behalf. He didn't at the time. So anyways, I think I had given him my phone number or something. And a few days later, he called and asked if I could come down and help do some paperwork for some of his patients. And that's kind of how it got started. Originally, I didn't charge for it or anything, just $20 so that it, you send it in registered mail. And so I took care of everything, gave them their photocopy. He liked how I did my work, so he asked me to continue doing it. And I did. I think everybody, or probably some of your listeners, probably have heard stories about Dr. Kammermans. He didn't end on a good note. He's no longer a doctor. He's I believe they've taken his license completely from him. It's a very long story that I kind of don't want to get into.
No,
but
we don't have to get into that.
Yeah. In the beginning, I think it was a lot of compassion and on his part. But once the greenback started flowing, if you will, I think things sort of changed. I mean, there were times that I actually followed a patient out and slid them the money so that they could go back in and get their paperwork because he wouldn't release it without money. And when stuff like that started happening, I distanced myself a little bit more from him because I didn't want to be a part of that. I still help people today. And I'll help people until the day I die. Like, that's just the way it is. And I think everybody should be that way. And I can understand getting a little greedy because everybody gets a little bit greedy. It's our nature, I'm sure. I shouldn't say everybody. I don't want people to get offended, but, shit happens. Am I allowed to say shit?
Right. Yeah, we're explicit. We can say whatever we want. I agree with that. Like, I mean, when I came out, you're the one that did my paperwork for me, actually. Because I had flown out to see Dr. Kammerman because, my doctor in Alberta wouldn't sign me. And it was great at the beginning. Like, it really was. And then there was the trip. Then there was the trip to Montreal where you guys almost got arrested. And then he was out in Nova Scotia signing. And so I understand the realm of it all. And it's really unfortunate because they were nice people, like, in the beginning. Like, I really liked them,
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but that's unfortunate. And again, like you said, shit happens, and that's, it is what it is. And still, we still help people, like even through my Canadian Therapeutic Cannabis Partners Society, we still help people.
Yeah, that's why I stayed with him as long as I did, because even though this kind of stuff was happening behind the scenes, there was a lot of that I didn't even know was happening. What I did know and what I did see was that we were helping a lot of people. For the amount of people that were there just to get their, prescription signed, basically, there were a lot of people that were there because they needed to be there. And so, he was also against opioids, so, which was important to me, and still is, that because it just drives me crazy that the way things are going with opioid use. But that sort of warmed the cockles of my heart, if you will, towards them, and made me want to stay and help all these people that we were actually helping, because there was a good percentage of people that we did help.
Well, because even when I went, like I said, when I first went out there, he listened to my heart. He did physically do an exam. Like, it wasn't just, so what do you want and how many grams do you need? And, like it is like now when you talk to, one of these clinics over the phone, it's like, so how many grams do you think you figure you need and how much? And you're on the phone with them for 2 minutes. The next thing you know, you're getting a text saying, okay, you're signed now. And it's like, okay, you know what I mean? So there's really no doctor to really look at you or actually listen to what your affliction is or why you're using cannabis. They just ask you what you want, what you need, and off they go. Where, like I said, Dr. Kammerman at least, did listen to my heart and took my blood pressure and asked me what my issue was and read through my medical records that I had to bring with him. with me to show him.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
like I said, at first it was, it was legitimate. Like it was a legitimate doctor.
He
You're
was
going to see a doctor.
probably one of the most above board, if not below board, doctors that were out there, right, compared to now.
Right.
And that's again the greed of the money again. Like it basically boils down to
Absolutely.
always to the money. That's where it always ends up, anyways.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah, no, and like I said, we're all entitled to have that. Like, I sit back and I get called all kinds of names, and she's jealous because she doesn't have the money to be a licensed producer. She's jealous because she can't own her own store. No, I'm not. I don't want to do that. I don't want it, whether I had the money or not. I don't want to be in with the government regime. I don't want a store where I have to sell stuff in a plastic bottle that I can't look at first. I don't. No more than I want to run or own a liquor store. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was as it stayed the same, where it was a green market where we could look at our product and bring in organic, grown by patient product, and it like checked it under a microscope and do all these things with it, like it was prior to legalization. Yeah, you're right. I do want my own store, but the way it is right now, no. No, I don't. And I could have $1 million. I could have nobody knows what I've got access to for investment. It's nobody's business if I'm broke, poor, fucking if I got $1 million in the bank.
Nobody's business anyways, really.
Right. But again, I get called this and that and all kinds of, stupidity. And reality is I don't want to be part of the legal regime. I don't want to be in the industry. I'm part of the cannabis community. That we've lost so much of our community because so many greedy people decided they were going to jump market. I've been doing it for this many years. I'm entitled, blah, blah, blah. You're entitled to do whatever you want. You go right ahead. But don't expect me to fucking jump on your bandwagon. I'm not going to.
Well, see, myself, I know that we talked about Kammermans, but I've also worked at two licensed producers, huge ones in Ontario, and my original employment started through a fella called Derek Pedro, who's quite well known, in my opinion, in the cannabis industry. And he's a fantastic. He was the master grower at my first licensed producer, and my second licensed producer. When I finished with them, I was able to purchase a brand new car. So I can't not working for the man. I just love that it's going to be working for the man in the cannabis industry. That's all I'm all about. I'm all about the good old herb, whether. And I'm not like a Bible thumper where I want to see everybody smoking it or be, but I just think that to each his own. And what I do is my business. And if you don't like it, scroll on past. That's all there is to that.
But it's a great accomplishment to say that you actually did work for a licensed producer. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not knocking you for being able to get,
I gotta tell you, I learned a hell of a lot. And I've been a grower for many, many years. Like, when I found out that you could control lighting over 12 hours, take out, 12 hours of light away, and you've got flower on your plants. The minute I learned about that was the minute I started growing weed. Now, I may not have been a good grower, but I can tell you I'm a lot better than I ever was, and I'm even better when I learned how to do it the proper, like, I don't want to say proper, but clean way, like not smoking cigarettes in with your plants, because that actually causes problems, things like that you just learn, and everybody's going to keep on learning for the rest of our lives. So, and like I said, I love weed. So that's where it's going to be, the mama weed.
Right. And like I said, nobody's like, knocking the licensed producer. Like I've always said, there's room for everybody. My concern and my beef is they haven't left it open for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, there's room for everybody. There's room to have patients growing and taking their excess into a market. There's room for that.
100%.
Now they want to try,
Yep.
and now they want to try and cut us back some more. And I think that's what my biggest bitch is. It's not about the licensed producers. It's not about the people that got into the market. It's about the fact that the patients have been left out. And that's got nothing to do with jealousy or money or anything to do. It's the fact that we've enrolled into the Cannabis Act, and we've just been left behind. There's no medical dispensaries. There's nobody that you can walk into a boutique or a store and ask, hey, I've got MS. What's going to help me? All of that is gone. And that's what got us to legalization, and it got us to where we are with legalization. Yet the people that got us to legalization aren't even allowed to be in legalization. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is. And it's insane. And like I said, it's not jealousy, because I'm still doing what I'm going to do. I'm still involved and still, have my show. I still help patients. I still consult and do what I can to help people. It's the reason why I got involved to begin with. It's got nothing to do with the greenback for me. I'm a broke joke. Everybody knows it. And I don't care. I'm happy, right? Does it matter? Right? Really? Like, does it matter? Like, would I like to be able to be a master grower? Sure. I'd love to be able to go in there and take a check. And have I been in a licensed production? Not a big one, because there isn't one local, but microcraft, yeah. And it's great. But I mean, the fact that they have to have the white floors and the white walls and all these, big construction, fucking, $1 million just to fucking get the facility up and running.
No. Are you talking about the micros? You don't have to have. I know a micro that's outside.
This guy that I know has had just. You don't have to, I guess, but like I said, this one guy that I don't know here has just been over.
You can do it as long as you have the room. You have to have the minimum size and the proper security. You don't even have to have fencing around the property anymore. Like, the rules have changed dramatically. Quite a bit, I have to say. It's possible for it is. It's very possible. Now, the thing is there's still, like, Health Canada wants to know that you have a quality team together. There's still, and that's like whether you're a licensed producer or a micro, there's still some things, and those are things that are difficult, like the SOPs. They are picky when they're looking at your SOPs. So you kind of, there's a lot of little things that are still you're going to have to pay for, but no, you can have a facility just outside. I mean, look at Weed MD. They've got their license for a huge license producer, and they're doing their thing outside. But I know somebody in New Brunswick who's got a micro. She's a licensed micro, and it's outside. It's an outside grow. I was shocked when I saw it.
That's great to know, because like I said, you hear, right? You read the regulations, you read what they want. So, it's all in perception of what they're asking for too, because I'm watching this guy right now, like it's 6 years, and he had his grow up. They came in and told him it wasn't what he needed. He has now rebuilt a whole new facility, like right down to cement walls, floors, the whole 9 yards, and he's still in production. Not a plant, not a light, not even a light on the fucking hanging out of the ceiling. And we're talking 6 years later. Wow. So maybe it's just watching that and seeing how hard it's been for him.
Yeah. No,
you know what I mean? Like,
you should probably look into some other ones too, because there are quite a few different ones that I've seen for sure. Yeah.
Well, that's really interesting. Like I said, why we have these shows, because there's all kinds of you learn something new every day, right? And that's it.
Yeah.
We have, you know what I mean? Like, when you're talking to different people across the country, you learn new things, because I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know you could do micros outside.
With it being a federal program, it can be the same anywhere across Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So, I belong to also like a group of micros. So and I'm a bit of a speed reader. I wish I had the photographic memory to go with speed reading, sadly.
Right.
I can speed read it 4 or 5 times. That's good.
Right. Well, that's good. Like I said, because that's interesting. Well, I knew the size and stuff, and I know that they were talking about bringing down the security levels for them. So that's another good thing. But then again, like I said, now you're looking at the regulations for Health Canada for patients, and they want to change that again. Now, apparently, like I said, there's different perceptions on when you're reading those regulations too. I've been told that they've always been there, not to worry about it. It's nothing new. And then I've got other people that are saying, no, this is something we really should be concerned about. So again, there's different perceptions.
Are you talking about what are you talking about specifically? The gram per day? The new 75-day consultations that they've asked for with the fact that designated growers. I don't believe, maybe I've read this wrong, but I believe that it said that designated growers can't have criminal records at all. There's no 10-year lien on that anymore. That really?
If you're growing personally for your, this is what I read. So again, there was also the 2-gram limit I saw.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So again, like I said,
that part of it? Is that in the cannabis? Where is that? Where
it's on Health Canada. It's on
Health
Canada's website. They have a new 75-day consultation.
I've got to check that out because I'm a designated grower, so I need to be on top of that.
Right. So like I said, I'm not sure. Maybe I've read it wrong. Maybe I've perceived it wrong. But I've talked to a few other people that are seeing it and reading it the same way I am. And then I've seen other people. And then I've talked to other people that are saying, no, it's always been like that. Now, I know even with back in the MMAR days, when we did our paperwork, they didn't ask if you had a criminal record at all anywhere on the paperwork, except if you were going to be a designated
grower, you had to get a police
record
check. They only want to see a police record check. It doesn't matter what's on there unless you're I think it's to do with cannabis-related crime, like, say you've been caught smuggling weed.
It asks you as a patient if you've had a criminal record in the last 10 years.
On the Health Canada paperwork.
Mm-hmm. And I know that when I filled it out because I had to lie. Straight up. I can say that now because I'm not licensed at all. But when I filled out those paperwork...
Wait a minute, though. Because I just did my paperwork, it's been less than a year, probably 6 months.
I think it was probably on page 6 or 7. Check on page 6 or 7. I believe it's on.
When did that change?
In fact, I think maybe on the last page when you have to fucking sign your signature. When they put the new MMA or ACMPR paperwork out. Because I did mine 4 years ago. And it was there then.
Really?
So, yeah,
like
I said, just take a check, but I'm pretty sure now that asks if you're a patient, if you have a criminal record, because I know I had to lie on it, because I didn't say I did, because I did, right?
So they just asked the question, but they didn't ask for a criminal record check?
No, not as a patient, no. Designated grower, yeah.
I gotta look at that. I don't recall. I can't say honestly.
Check page. I think it's page 6 or 7. I think it's on. I'd have to go back and look. I have to go digging through papers and stuff too. But I believe it's on page 6 or 7 because there's only 11 pages of the new paperwork now. So, but yeah. So, like I said, the interesting of the changing, and like I said, the biggest thing is that they're basically making it so they don't want to have patients at all by the sounds of it, because they even have the statistics out as. There's 420,000 licensed patients in Canada, and 43,000 of them grow for themselves.
And 43,000?
Yeah, grow for themselves. Out of the 420,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
So that's what the statistics said. And that was, like I said, that was on the website on Health Canada that I read that. There was 420 licensed patients in Canada and 43,000 of them actually grow. And in reality, they're going after the people that are diverting, right? They want to stop the diversion. So these ones that have gotten caught over growing, or they've got licensing and they're connected to organized crime, the ones that they've been busting in Ontario, the big ones that are over, 5,000 plants and plus, they're still having license for patients or designated growers. That's what they're wanting to change. So that's why this consultation's in effect right now. Why the whole, and like I said, to me, it sounded like they wanted to take us down to 2 grams a day maximum, which would be 10 plants. We'd have to have more security for those 10 plants than somebody that was recreational with 4. Like I said, that's how I read it. So I was kind of like up in the air about it, like honestly. But again,
it just doesn't, none of that makes sense to me when you can grow 4 fucking plants for yourself and have it's like you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. And you know what you can get from 4 plants? Like, you can get an awful lot.
Well,
if
so
you know what
they were
you're
saying,
doing.
well,
So
you can't
when
have
it
that. I
comes
said,
to limits,
we've got no
well,
limits, like on our storage.
Sorry?
There's no limits on recreational storage. Like they don't tell you
No.
you can only have so much in your house for recreational. There's no limit.
No, there's
Except
also
for the
there's
30
no
grams a day.
for me, even as a licensed patient, there's no limit on what I can have in my house. Everybody is stuck on 30 grams. Except
Right.
the patients, it's 150.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah.
There's
Yeah. So again, like I said, I don't know. I don't, like I said, maybe I've read it wrong, but I don't know. It just seems, yeah, seems to me, like I said, it seems to me there's a lot, like I said, some people are taking it like it's not a big deal. Like we don't have anything to worry about. And other people are saying, yeah, no, it's a bit of a big deal. So again, like I have to maybe go back and read it again, but it's basically
a big deal if you're growing a few hundred plants in your house or on your property somewhere. That's when it becomes a big deal.
Right? But there are people that we know like that have 100 gram a day licensing, right? They do have 100 gram a day licensing, and they are growing it. And like I said, it's not that it's a problem. I don't think it's a problem. I mean, I don't care if you have thousands of plants. Like, it's not up to me. I don't
think
care.
it all should be legalized, if you ask me. This shouldn't be even an issue. I think we should be legalized with all drugs. That's my opinion on that. And to grow it, to do all, I mean, what the heck? There's so many other things that they could be, they could be spending their money on programs to help the addicts out there that have so many issues. They could be helping. Look at Cannabis Saves Lives. That's the Chris Backer here in Nova Scotia, and who is it up in
Neil Magnuson, Vancouver, the cannabis substitution
Neil,
programs,
Like, why aren't those guys getting a little bit more funding instead of spending money on busting these people? Spend the money on fucking helping with the addictions that are out there, especially given now with the pandemic, it's 10 times worse. Like it's probably way more than 10 times worse. Yeah, none of that makes sense to me.
No, and these cannabis substitution programs run on donations and don't get any funding. In fact, they're trying to shut them down, if anything. Like Neil's had problems in Vancouver, right? They took his van at one point too. Like, they tried to stop it. And I don't understand when they're not harming anybody. And that's the whole thing with cannabis. And it's always been that way with, there's no harm. Like, you're paying victim service charges when you get charged with possession of cannabis. Well, who are you harming? Who's the victim in that crime? You know what I mean? And like, you're the victim of that crime. You're the one possessing cannabis. You weren't harming anybody. There's no victim, but yet you're still paying a victim service charge. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me on all levels for a lot of things that they do. Our legislations, our whole justice system is kind of like, what? What?
Yeah.
You get 14 years for growing pot, but you only get 5 for raping a child. What? Like, like those are those are the things you have to kind of like shake your head at and go, wow. But that's the reality, instead of taking the laws off.
The rules are just so old. They need to relook at so many different things. Everything like that needs to be looked over. Like,
absolutely,
completely revamped.
Absolutely. Like I said, there's so many things that you just have to give your head a shake. Like, instead of taking laws away from legalization, they added them. Can't, trafficking under the age and legally you get caught, selling to a kid that's 17 by an 18-year-old. An 18-year-old's gonna, exactly. Like, where was the logic in any of that? Where was the logic in making it so that it was so unattainable for somebody to actually get involved in the legal market? And on that note, we're going to take a quick 2-minute break and thank our sponsors. You will be right back. You've been listening to us live on paceradio.net.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
The People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada is an organization working to improve cannabis legalization in Canada. They have a mission and values that includes all Canadians, no matter where they come from. The values are including everyone, as no one should be excluded from participating, equality, diversity, advocacy, along with cannabis education and research, plus industry, safety, and professional standards. If this is an organization that has the same values as you, check them out at peoplesallianceofcannabisincanada.ca. Once again, peoplesallianceofcannabisincanada.ca. Check them out.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
The People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network provides its listeners with news, information, and a place to be heard. This is done with a twice-weekly broadcast of the Reefer Reporters and by providing cannabis advocates a place to be heard through Cannabis and Coffee with Tamarijuana and the award-winning Pace Radio Show. Catch it all here at paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains, and when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed, and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
What is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network? It's a network of people advocating cannabis education.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CP.
Who has huge buds? You do. If you shop at BMA Hydroponics, attend one of BMA's educational seminars and learn the secrets of growing, harvesting, processing, and consuming quality cannabis and cannabis products. Learn how to make better extracts, edibles, and medicinal creams at prices you can afford. Visit BMA Hydroponics at 404 Maitland Drive, Belleville, or call 613-967-9888.
The only way to go.
We are People Advocating Cannabis Education here at paceradio.net.
Oh, right. We're back with Johanna, and we've been talking a little bit over the break about the Health Canada paperwork, and Al was kind enough to look it up, and it is on page 6 on the Health Canada paperwork, where they are now asking you, as a personal grower, whether you have a criminal record or not. And like I said, I can now, sit out there and say I lied on mine because I did and do have a criminal record. It's not a fucking secret. And they never ever asked me, but I also could have revoked my license when I got charged with trafficking when I had my first MMAR. I never did, and never asked on the MMAR paperwork after the fact, because I had my license from 2011. It was never asked on any of that paperwork until my ACMPR. And then when the ACMPR paperwork came out, it was there. And I had to lie straight up. I'm not lying about it. I lied on the paperwork and said I didn't have a criminal record because I do.
It's I don't understand how they're even able to get away with asking that question, because what does that have to do with your health?
It doesn't have anything to do with your health.
Are you not there to get a prescription for medication? Like, I just don't understand. Like, to me, and like we said, it's concerning.
Right. Again, they don't ask you how many pills you got in your house either. And they don't ask you if you got a criminal record if you go to the doctor to get an opioid. My doctor doesn't ask me if I got a criminal record if she's prescribing me morphine. You know what I'm saying?
Or cannabis. Even cannabis. Is your doctor asking you if you have a record when they're prescribing you cannabis? No, they're not. Or I'm sure they're not.
No, they're not. But on the paperwork now, they're asking you. So again, there it is in black and white, right? Like so I can't, like, and like I said, like, it was mentioned, like the 2 grams is what they're comparing. So a legal person that's going through to get an ACMPR for just like buying from the licensed producers, average grams are 2 grams per day, where somebody who's going to get a grow licensing, the average gram per day is 36. So they're seeing the difference in that and going, what are these people doing? Why do they need so much? Why do they need so many grams per day? What's up with that? So something else that's concerning that they're looking at. And like Al mentioned over the break too, he doesn't foresee it not having a cap. So at some point in time, they might not having a cap, where they're going to say, okay, the cap for and then, maybe it won't be like, I don't know. And the revoking of licensing. So again, they've been able to do that, I guess, prior to, but never really have. But then being able to tell you whether you get, like, we always knew it was just kind of a checklist. As long as they, it got to the person at Health Canada's desk, they checked off that everything was signed, everything was checked off properly. If the gram was, high, some of them doctors would get phone calls back, if it was over 20 grams a day at one point in time. Some of the doctors were, reporting that they were getting phone calls from college and physicians and from Health Canada. So this is not something that's new. It's not like the doctors haven't gotten phone calls in the past. They have.
But if they plan on doing any kind of enforcing of this, they're going to have a whole crew of inspection agents, and
which they don't have. Again,
no, they don't. They don't have the force to do that. The capability. I just can't see it. I can't see it at all. No. Even to inspect all of the grows that are out there that are legal, like like I'm talking about the bigger ones, the micros and the LPs. They don't have enough to do those ones. So,
no, like I was talking about over before, like here in town, we have 7-8 stores now, right? And just hang on a second. I'm just going to. Sorry, I had a barking dog. We have 7 or 8 stores in town. There's one liquor control board inspector here in town that has to take care of all those stores, plus all the liquor stores and the bars. One person. And the guy that was at the one store that I frequent, I asked him, so how many times has the inspector been in here since you've been open? Just, casually conversation. He goes, when was the day we opened? He goes, and I probably won't see him for 6 months. He goes, we'll be lucky. He goes, he doesn't have time to check us all out.
No.
So once every 6 months.
Was it done by like a bylaw inspector? Like, are they recruiting
liquor control? No. We don't have. We have 2 bylaws in town. Period. And we've got 1 liquor control board inspector here in town. Period. And so they've got 1 person doing the liquor control inspections, which is all the bars, the liquor stores, and all the cannabis. We don't have a licensed producer here, so we don't have to worry about that. They were trying to get one here. I don't know if Delcar has gotten back on the board or not. They were trying, they did, then they shut down. I don't know. We've got a couple of microcrafters that are trying to get licensing and a couple that are out of town that have got them. So he would probably be responsible for that too. But they've got 1 person. And I know, like,
they don't have the staff.
We never had anybody come and inspect our patients' grows. So how many inspectors are they going to have to do this for this? When they've got 43,000 people that they've got cited in the statistics that are growing cannabis, how much resources they have to go and inspect all 43,000 grows?
Exactly. That's insane. Oh my goodness! When the first LP that I worked at was number 6 in Canada, okay, and they didn't have enough staff to send. They send 2 people once a month on surprise visits, or once every couple of months, and that's it. And that was with 6 in Canada. And it's is how many is out there now? I don't even know. I've lost track.
I think there's over 400 now.
Plus the micros.
I think there's over 400. Yeah. No, they don't. In fact, we were at the legalization roundtables, and they had just stated that they'd just gotten a raise in the budget for Health Canada, which they hadn't had in 10 years. So that they were actually able to hire some more staff. When they said the lamination machine was broken, it really was, because it wasn't allowed in the budget, because each department gets a budget. That budget is for whatever, and it's right down to the last staple. You know what I mean?
Do you have one of those cards?
No, I never got one, because the lamination machine was broken. No,
Mine's
I never did.
Antique. I got one.
Do you? That's awesome.
Yeah.
But now we don't even have to send our pictures in.
My antique laminated license.
But no, like we used to have to send our 2 passport pictures in too. You don't even have to do that anymore. Like they don't ask for passport pictures. They don't ask for ID. Like, but they want to know whether you got a criminal record or not.
That's
but they
right.
Don't
I totally forgot about the passport pictures.
Right.
I guess because they weren't putting them on cards anymore. That's right. I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
I had to send them in, but we never got cards. But like I said, they don't have. Do you have a criminal record? But we don't want to see what you look like. You know
and they have to be signed by the doctor. That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
The passport and the back of the pictures. You bet they did. So again, like it's just the difference in all of it. But you're right. They don't have the manpower. They don't have the resources. They don't have any way of doing this. So why are they even bothering?
Yeah. I don't know. It's a money grab. To me, it's always about the money. It's always about the money.
Yeah.
You know, it's like watching the guys do the road work. You know, they're getting paid to do the road work, so they're not going to do it fast. I mean, if they were like going to say, "Hey, you've got 5 months to do this road," and get it done in 5 months. No, they'll get it done in 10 months because they get paid for 10 months, not 5 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I agree. And I mean, it shouldn't, like, again, like, you know, it's supposed to be for patients. Like even the reason why we got this stupid licensed production rollout is because they wanted to stop patients from growing their own medicine. So they brought in licensed production for that. So again, it was always about stopping people from having the privilege and the access to their own medicine to be able to grow it for themselves. They don't want us growing. They don't want us having any ability to maybe even be self-sustainable. Hell, they want to fucking stop us from growing garlic if they could.
Yeah.
You know, like,
echinacea.
I don't know.
I mean, echinacea.
Right?
That's something that they consider to be a medication, and you can grow that legally with no problem.
Yeah, tobacco too, right? Like that doesn't seem to be a problem.
What about growing grapes? You can grow grapes for wine. You know.
That too. Yeah, or any fruit for that.
That's not even a medication.
So, it is for some people, I guess.
Well, maybe,
right?
yeah. I think since the pandemic, I've started taking up a little bit of wine, I gotta admit.
I think during this pandemic, a lot of people have taken up some medicinal drinking. To be fair. I mean, it's just kind of, you know, drinking on and on and on. So, you know, which we thought, you know, maybe that's the uptick in people growing cannabis too, is because of the pandemic, people are home. Because let's face it, if you're not home, you have to be pretty hands-on with a garden, right? Like you don't have a choice. You can't just stop and just leave it and walk away. So people that were working a lot didn't have the time to get into gardening. Well, now that we've got people home, they're getting into, you know, even just growing 4 plants. I know a lot of people that are just growing 4 plants. They couldn't be bothered with the paperwork. They don't care. That's kind of where I'm at too. I don't have the power. So it's just like, whatever. Like, and I grew lots for a long time.
I started a business actually kind of based on the recreational grow down here since I've been down here. And obviously not selling any seeds or clones or anything, but assisting on your recreational grow. I can do just about anything with the grow. So I'm going to be tapping into that cannabis industry because I know it's out there. And there's a lot of people that just have no idea. Or down here, there's a lot of lobster fishermen or fishermen that go away for a few days. So I'm there to babysit your crop. You know,
right?
Like,
right.
There's a business to be had, and if other people are going to tap into it, I'm sure as hell going to tap into it as well. and that's the recreational end of things. So there's plenty of opportunity there for some different areas of it. Whether
Absolutely.
it's medicinal, recreational, the labor part of it, the parts part of it. There's lots to be done in this industry.
Absolutely. Like I said, and it is going to grow, and it's going to get larger and larger. And like I said, it's not stopping. It's full speed ahead, right? And either you embrace it or you don't, right?
Health Canada better keep up. That's all I can say. They want to play the game. They better keep up. Don't you think?
Yeah, and they're not going to be. They're proving that they can't right now.
No,
they have never been. They've never been able to, and that's always been our bitch as patients. Even is that they've never been able to keep up with the science. They don't want to recognize it as medicine. They don't want to do any research. They want to just the research. Let's face it, the research that they are getting is coming in from the licensed producers. All the testing and all that stuff is done on site, is it not? And then the paperwork is. And then the reports are then sent into Health Canada on all the testing. So it's not like everybody's sending their buds into Health Canada. Health Canada is doing all the testing, and then they're sending all the paperwork back to the licensed producer. That's not what's happening.
No.
So and I'm not saying that licensed producers are fudging, and I'm not saying that they're not doing things legally, and I'm not saying that. But the possibilities are there. We've already seen rooms that have been, private rooms and all kinds of things. Like I said, these people, some of them were drug dealers before. Do you think that they've just forgotten what they were? Like, come on. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, and yes, there are business people that didn't ever smoke a joint that are in the industry. But let's be fucking truthful about it. And that's and Health Canada's never been able to keep up on that either. So, like I said, I'm not knocking the people that are doing it. I love Derek Pager. I mean, he taught me how to make hash back fucking 2011. I have no issue with him, and the fact that he's able to, have a great life and teach people and where he is, and it's great. I have no issue with that. Yeah. None. Yeah. I have no issue with my friends that have opened stores. I don't. All opportunities are there for people. That is great. I don't begrudge anybody's success because. Exactly, because you know what? If you're successful, that means you're happy in life, and that's all I want to see for any of my friends, right? Yeah. Period. It's happiness, and if this is what makes you happy, then have at her. For me, that's not where I see myself, and don't fucking look at me like I've some begrudged little troll because I don't fucking see myself in the same aspect. I just don't. Just whatever, right?
No, you're not a troll.
Well, I've given up on doing any sales of any kind because it's pointless. And, helping patients grow, yes. But, I mean, trying to get the meds anymore, it's pointless. There's all kinds of variety and all kinds of different strains and all kinds of different things. And I'm not saying that the producers are putting out bad stuff, and because some of it isn't. Like, some of it's really good. Like, it's expensive, but it's really good stuff.
I have seen some good stuff, but I can honestly say that I think from both LPs, the second one that I worked for got high into the edible market, and good on them, really good stuff. But the first one, no, not so good. Not so good.
And I mean that's all in perception.
The product is concerned, anyway.
Right. Right, and
yeah,
I mean,
I've gone to the liquor store down here. It's the liquor store. There's no dispensaries at all, legal ones. And I've gone to the liquor store and purchased a little bit to try something different, and ended up with crap.
Yeah, I have too. Moldy. So I got some moldy stuff. So,
pardon me.
So am I. But I got some moldy stuff from the store.
Yeah.
Not kidding. Yeah. I brought it home because I was cheaping out, and I said I just need something to get me through for a day or so, and it was from Tweed, and it was outdoor, greenhouse, I guess, outdoor, whatever, and it was moldy. So it was dry as shit, So I've gotten some really nice stuff from Broken Coast. So again, like I said, I can't say that it's all crap because some of it's been really good, and quite honestly, I'd love to try the Bull Rider, but I'm just choking on the price. To be fair, I really want to try it, but I really am choking on the price of it. So right now it's just That's my biggest thing. Like, I mean, when you're involved in the black market, you don't usually pay for your medicine. You're just kind of, covering your costs. Yeah. And now that you're out of the black market doing anything, and then you see the cost of what, your medicines cost you, and it's like, oh,
it stings a little bit.
Right? So,
I know.
Like, it's just really, but again, like I said, it is what it is. It's life has to move forward, and everything pivots, and you got to change. It's kind of like the poor restaurants, they got to shut down again, so they're pivoting. So again, this industry's changed again. You got to pivot. But my point in the bottom line of it all is people that use it medicinally, and I just don't see that being fair, and I just don't see it being right that people that use it for medicine have to keep fighting for their privilege, their right, whatever you want to call it, to be able to and have to keep proving it, right? Like, it's like,
it seems like every time you go around the corner, you're fighting again.
Exactly. It's like a military guy having to prove his leg grew back. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not getting medical, like most of us, let's say that there's, 90% of us, I will say, that actually do use it for medicinal reasons, and we do need it. And we don't, don't use it for any other thing. We aren't diverting it. We aren't doing anything but what our licensing says. And again, we're back to that one bad apple, right? Scenario.
Yeah.
Where we've got, the handful that have fucked up and abused the system, so now we all get fucking penalized for it.
That's right. It wasn't even a learning, it's I remember years ago that you could screw around with your insurance, your car insurance. You could get away with driving without car insurance, and then over time, the first time you got charged, it was maybe a couple $100, but then you get charged more the next time, and then more the next time, and they started learning from that. So instead of charging the measly $200 or whatever it was that you might get caught driving without insurance, they immediately charge you now. I don't know what it is, but I know it's pretty high, probably $1,000 or more to drive without insurance.
I think it's $4,000.
So it scares
it's
$4,000. It's 4,000. Exactly.
4,000.
$4,000 to drive without insurance.
And in BC, you can't really get away with that.
My point is, they learned to adjust or pivot, like you said. They adjusted the way they did things. But with growing, they're not doing that. They're just, every time you turn around a corner, oh, let's do this, or oh, okay, well now we've done, like, there's no rhyme nor reason for asking you to have a. Pardon me?
They claw back. It's like every time we ask for a little more, they claw it back further. And you ask for a little more, and they keep clawing it back.
Exactly. Yeah. So they keep changing. They're not learning from their mistakes, basically, in a nutshell. And I'm talking about, like, why don't you just come up with a goddamn plan and be done with it? Quit changing the shit. Like, that's creates a lot more stress for the patients out there as well. Every time they've got to watch their back, like, that doesn't make sense, man. I got cancer, but yet I got to watch my back. Like, how smart is that?
I got a comment from Cheryl Rose. She's listening. She goes, instead of Health Canada looking at patients that grow and their averages of what they need and questioning them, Health Canada should question the LPs as to why their patients can't afford the amounts the average medical patient requires. Patients turn to the grey market to fill what else they require because they can only afford a small amount of LP product, not enough to truly give them. Doctors are bullied into low prescriptions because Health Canada LP system and high cost of cannabis is useless to patients that can't grow.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
Again, she's right. Like, why are the patients always being questioned? Why aren't they questioning the fact that patients can't afford what they need? Why aren't they looking at the insurance companies to help cover some of these low income people? Like, let's face it, if you're on OSDP and you can't afford, and why aren't they if they'll pay for the soldiers a certain amount, why won't they pay for somebody on OSDP a certain amount? Even if it's only 5 grams a day, cover that. That gives them the ability to cover the rest themselves if they can. I don't know. I don't know what all the answers are.
That question about funding the patients is sadly such an old question that has never been addressed by Health Canada at all, and that just sucks. That really, really sucks because, you know, you can get chemo and radiation in your body. Do you have to pay for that? No, you do not. Like,
right?
None of that makes sense to me. It's sad, but it's an old question that's never been answered.
Right?
You know?
Because they won't recognize it as medicine. So the insurance companies don't have to give it to you as medical benefit because right on their website it still says, we do not recognize marijuana as medicine. And until they turn that over, that's exactly what the issue is. And I've said that for 110 years. Well, it's not been 110 quite yet, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it's just...
I know what you mean. No, we've all been saying the same damn thing.
But again, it's a double-edged sword because once they put the RX labeling on it, then what happens to the recreational market that they've already opened up? So now they're in this conundrum where they can't recognize it as medical.
There's room for medical and there's room for recreational. Not everybody is sick and needs it. But what about the guy or the woman that wants to go home and smoke a joint instead of a glass of wine?
Right.
Like, there's still room for both factions. It's just that, I mean, recreational is so simple. You're getting 4 plants. Like, the rules are so simple. Nobody has to be concerned about that shit. But the ones that, even for me, it's the patients that can't grow. Those ones, the ones that can't grow for themselves, like they're the ones, or even get a designated grower. How many people out there are looking for designated growers? I don't charge my patient anything, not one single penny. In fact, I don't even charge her for the shipping. I don't believe any designated grower should be charging their patient. I think that's probably a whole nother story and a whole nother show that we could talk about.
And how many patients have been ripped off by designated growers? You're one of the good ones. I got 2. I'm down to 2 that have just totally ripped me off. The last one I had ripped us off.
And
both
I've
Alvin
heard
and I.
so many stories about it. So many stories. Like I said, that's a whole other show for you. I'm sure that you could probably put on, because it sadly it's a big thing. And again, going back to Health Canada or no funding, what about those patients that aren't growing for themselves, or not capable, or don't know how to grow for themselves? They have to pay for the meds. It doesn't make sense. Like, of those 43,000 or 4,300 that you talked about, how many
43,000
people was it? Oh yeah,
43,000.
Of those people, how many of them are actual patients growing for themselves or designated growers? Not growing for themselves, but physically growing for somebody else. I bet you it's a small number. I bet you it's a very small number of designated growers out there. That's something for Al to look into.
Yeah, but again, you know, and I have another friend too that, you know, her designated grower got his own personal license that was big enough that he told her he didn't need her license anymore, and he wasn't going to grow for her anymore after 10 years.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
So, you know, like, but then you've got, like I said, you got these ads coming across Facebook. You want to grow 500 plants? Give us a call. And I've seen them on Facebook. You want more than 20? You want more than 4 plants for your illegal grow? Phone us. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? It's pretty hard for them to regulate when you've got companies out there that, I'm not saying it's wrong. Like I said, I don't think there should be any licensing, period. I've always said that. I don't think I need a dog tag to tell you whether I use what I use cannabis for. It's none of your fucking business. Why should I have to register every year with the government to grow a few plants to make myself feel better? It's bullshit. I just don't think it's, you know, even with these licensed producers, I don't think that they should have to go through the bullshit of fucking security and labs and all that. I think it's bullshit. It's a plant. Just my opinion.
For fear of sounding like a broken record, I'm going to say it again. It's all about the fucking money. It's all about the money. Somebody's getting paid. And I'll tell you, those clinics out there, they're getting paid huge.
Yeah.
Huge for those licenses.
But then there's the ones that the licensed producers are paying for. It's like when I went and signed up through, I can't remember, Namaste MD, I think it was a couple of years ago. It didn't cost me anything. It was an app on my phone. It didn't cost me a dime. I just went on. They gave me an appointment. I went on a Skype, like a little Skype face call on my phone. Within half an hour, I had a paper that said, yep, you can sign up with this producer and that producer. And then I got an email from the producers that I had chosen. And it was that simple. and it didn't cost me anything, except for then, you have to buy from the licensed producer, and that's where they catch you, because then you're paying $15 a gram, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly. And if you're the thing too is the licensed producer is getting back to that doctor or that clinic and saying, hey, listen, this person that you sent me here is not buying. They just got that license and they're not buying. So the next time you go to renew that prescription, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, exactly. No. Well, on that note,
Yeah.
my dear, our hour is up. So that was a quick hour that flew by quick.
It was fun. It was
good having you on. Yeah. It was good. We'll have to have you back again, like you said, on another discussion on designated growers. We'll bring you back and we'll have that conversation.
Yeah, I love talking about weed.
I know, it's great. It's so great. Next week, I think I've got Riel Kapler coming on. I've asked her to join me on my show, so I'm hoping to get Riel on next week, which will be a great conversation too, because she's really super interesting to talk to. And thank you again so much for being on my show. It was a real pleasure. And thanks to our sponsors. And you've been listening to us live on paceradio.net. Have a great week, everybody.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. Visit our hydroponics superstore at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville and we'll show you how to grow your own quality cannabis for pennies per gram. We're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 613-967-9888. BMA Hydroponics. It's worth the drive. The only way to go.
The People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada is an organization working to improve cannabis legalization in Canada. They have a mission and values that includes all Canadians, no matter where they come from. The values are including everyone, as no one should be excluded from participating, equality, diversity, advocacy, along with cannabis education and research, plus industry, safety, and professional standards. If this is an organization that has the same values as you, check them out at peoplesallianceofcannabisincanada.ca. Once again, peoplesallianceofcannabisincanada.ca. Check them out.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.